Well, it looks like WWE finally decided to progress some storylines on Monday Night Raw. On this edition, the March 9th, 2026 edition of Monday Night Raw, let's get into it with our very first thing. We open the show with Adam Pearce. He calls Seth Rollins a problem and then calls him out. When he does so, a singular masked man comes out, runs onto the announce table, staring at Adam Pearce in the ring as, I don't know, maybe a dozen, maybe more masked men come out to the side of the arena. They go to the sides. They're also right below the one masked man that is standing on the announce table. They all come in to the ring, do this like weird little dance around the ring, and then one steps forward, and that one just so happens to be Seth Rollins. Adam Pearce goes on to say that what Seth Rollins is doing is absolutely unacceptable because he's only 5 months removed from being injured. He is still not medically cleared to wrestle, and if the Vision get their hands on him, that is worst case scenario for Seth Rollins. And right after this, who happens to show up? The Vision themselves. Well, at least what's left of the Vision, because there's no Braun Breaker, there's no Bronson Reed, and there's no Paul Heyman. We still don't know what happened to Paul Heyman. We don't know what LA Knight did to him, but Austin Theory and Logan Paul make their way down to the ring. They basically say that they are the worst case scenario and try to go for a Rollins. But once they get in the ring, all the masked men come back in and they do their little dance again. And now they don't know which masked man is who, and they all just scram. Theory and Logan, they're both mad because they couldn't get their hands on Seth Rollins. LA Knight, he decides to come on out and tries to beat up on what's left of the Vision. And he gets taken over by Theory and Logan. But Jimmy and Jey Uso, the tag team champs, come out to rescue LA Knight from his own stupidity. And that's how we end this segment. But I do want to say two things. Why was Logan Paul wearing a wire? Like he was clearly wearing a microphone? I don't know. Maybe that'll come up in something for some reason. Hopefully they can explain that. And then number two, this is leading me to believe that our WrestleMania match for the World Tag Team titles is going to be Jimmy and Jey Uso, the World Tag Team champions, versus the Vision, Logan Paul and Austin Theory. It just seems like the right course of action because literally everyone else in the Vision is gone. We really don't have a storyline for Austin Theory and Logan Paul going against just Seth Rollins, unless it's going to be Seth Rollins and all his masked men against the Vision. That would be insane. But it looks like they're going more towards the Usos versus the Vision at WrestleMania. That's just my guess. Jimmy and Jey Uso are in the back getting interviewed about what CM Punk said last week about Roman Reigns' father. Jimmy and Jey, they're both kind of mad, say they have some receipts to hand out and some comments to say, but they are not saying it here. They're gonna wait. Next, we get the Women's Intercontinental #1 Contenders match, which is a gauntlet match. We first start off with Lyra Valkyria versus Iyo Sky. I thought this portion of the match was going to be the best portion. And not to say that it was bad, but it didn't live up to the expectation that I put on it. I'm not saying it's bad at all. I'm saying it's good. It's just, I know how Lyra can go in the ring. I know how Iyo can go in the ring. I just don't know if they had a miscommunication or maybe they just don't gel well in the ring. Anyways, I think this was a great opener for this gauntlet match. Iyo Sky winds up pinning Lyra Valkyria, and next who comes out is Raquel Rodriguez. There's a spot where Raquel is trying to take over. Liv Morgan comes out from the back to interfere, or at least distract Iyo, so that way Raquel can get the one over on Iyo. Unfortunately, this winds up backfiring when Stephanie Vaquer comes from the back and starts beating the crap out of Liv Morgan. And she beats her all the way up the ramp and into the backstage area, making Raquel get distracted, and Iyo Sky is able to roll up Raquel for a second victory in this gauntlet match. Unfortunately for Iyo, this would piss off Raquel Rodriguez, and she boots her to the outside of the ring. She hits her with a big boot, and Iyo winds up going over the top rope onto the floor down below. She picks her up, throws her into the ring post, and then Tahana bombs her right onto the apron, where our next competitor, Ivy Nile, comes running out of the backstage into the ring and pins Iyo Sky 1, 2, 3. I thought this was brilliantly booked because it puts a lot of heat on Raquel, because people love Iyo, and it puts a lot of heat on Ivy, who needs something, literally anything. Give Ivy Nile literally anything at this point, and it keeps Iyo protected. Overall, I think this portion of the gauntlet match was perfectly booked. But now that Ivy Nile has won, we have our next opponent, Bayley. It is now Ivy Nile versus Bayley. Bayley goes to check on Iyo while she's sitting on the outside of the ring because she rolled out after the pin, where Ivy Nile takes over. But it wouldn't last for long because, of course, Bayley winds up beating Ivy. It's a very competitive match, and I also liked how they booked Iyo losing very easily here, because now we have two fresh opponents. It's like we got another just singles match on Monday Night Raw here within this gauntlet match. Bayley wins, moves on to face the last person in this gauntlet match, which is Asuka. They do a great opening in this match between Bayley and Asuka, where Asuka's getting ready to go into the ring and Kairi's all excited, and then Bayley just zooms out and hits her. She just full-on forearm straight to the nose gets Asuka, and Kairi's just like, oh. This is like the best match within this gauntlet match. There's a part where they're both on the outside. It looks like Kairi's about to do something, because if I remember right, Bayley rolls Asuka back into the ring, but Lyra Valkyria comes sprinting down the ramp and drop kicks Kairi. She kills Kairi Sane right into the ring, and we don't hear from Kairi again until later tonight, but we'll get to that. And then Bayley is able to hit this amazing rose plant out of the Asuka lock. I can't even describe it. The way they did it, it's the best rose plant that Bayley has ever done in her life. And it was great because she won off of it. So because of this, next week it will be Bayley versus AJ Lee for the Intercontinental Championship. After this, we get the original El Grande Americano walking to the ring, getting ready for his match versus Penta for the Intercontinental Championship, where he is introduced to Danhausen. Danhausen wants to join El Grande Americano. He touches his mask and he tells him never to touch his mask, and no, I will not join you. I don't even know who you are. And Danhausen curses the OG El Grande Americano. My brain broke there for a second. So the match ahead is supposed to be Penta versus the OG El Grande Americano. We get Penta giving a very passionate speech about his family, his friends, the people backstage who've helped him, the fans who believed him, and himself for believing in himself. He would not have the Intercontinental Championship otherwise if it were not for all that. Now we get El Grande Americano coming out, except it's not the original El Grande Americano, it's the new El Grande Americano. What happened to the original? We don't know. We don't find out. We have no idea what happened to him. We know he got cursed, and we know what happens when Danhausen curses somebody at this point. Dom lost his championship. We still don't know what's going to happen to The Miz, and the OG Americano is lost. And there is no interference in this match. They still go through the match. This is still for the Intercontinental Championship between Penta and the new El Grande Americano. There are no Americanos, his little lackeys at ringside or anything. This is just a straight match between Penta and El Grande Americano, where Penta retains his championship off of a springboard Mexican destroyer. It was perfect. This entire segment was so awesome to watch. Next, we get a filmed promo from Stephanie Valkyria talking about how she's glad that she grew up in mud huts, where she was put through the ringer, making her one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. Where, yeah, Liv Morgan got to have the best trainers, the best doctors. She got signed by WWE at 20 years old, and it's made her weaker. She has to have opportunities to win championships. She just can't grit and grind to win a championship. Stephanie Valkyria's words, not mine. And Stephanie also brings up how she has to have the Judgment Day in order to win anything. She can never do anything by herself. And this seems to be the running theme throughout any Judgment Day storyline right now, which I'm really enjoying. You had Finn, who wanted to win the World Heavyweight Championship by himself, but couldn't do it. You have Dom, who Finn was saying, like, hey man, you need to retain the championship by yourself. You need to learn how to do this by yourself. And now we have Liv Morgan having to kind of learn this same lesson. But Liv Morgan, she turns it around, she flips it and says, well, Stephanie Valkyria doesn't even have friends. I have all you guys. She doesn't even have friends. Dom comes into the Judgment Day clubhouse and says he's looking for Finn. Has anybody seen Finn? No, nobody has seen Finn. And he says, well, I'm going to go to the ring because I have something that I need to get off my chest. Dom wants an Intercontinental Championship rematch against Penta because he should not have lost. In his mind, he should not have lost, even though he lost fair and square because nobody helped him. And that's just kind of how things go. But he does blame one person for his loss. And guess what? It's Dominic Mysterio. He's not blaming himself. He blames Finn Balor for saying that he needed to do it by himself. He didn't need the Judgment Day in order to win. Finn and JD do come out. The entire Judgment Day are in the ring except for Roxanne Perez. She's the only one missing here. I believe she's out for like an injury or surgery or something like that. He comes out and says that he is teaching Dom a valuable lesson. You need to learn how to do things by yourself. I've been trying to push you and learn and do things, but you just don't want to hear the hard lessons that you need to learn. You don't want to go through the hard stuff. You just want everything handed to you. And this is where he says that Rey Mysterio was right. If you want to be the best Mysterio, you have to do things by yourself. But you're spoiled, Dom. Rey was right. You're spoiled. You have all this help. You've had every single member of the Judgment Day since the very beginning help you. Edge, Rhea, Damian, Finn, JD, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez, literally every single person in the Judgment. Carlito, I forgot about Carlito. Every single person in the Judgment Day has helped you, and it still isn't enough. You can't even do it for yourself. Finn turns around, is kind of looking like he doesn't know what to do in this situation, and he Pele kicks Dom Mysterio straight in the face. And they finally did it. They finally did it. The cracks have shattered. An earthquake is happening in the Judgment Day clubhouse right now. Dom and Finn are going at it for a bit until Finn gets the upper hand. And he goes after Dom hard. But this time he is stopped by JD. Now I don't mean he just put a hand in front of him. JD straight up clotheslines Finn Balor, which blew my mind because I thought those two were the two tightest between any of them. Dom runs and gets a steel chair and the hammer, the ring bell hammer that he oh so loves to use. Hits Finn with it. He hits a 619 with the hammer in his boot on Finn. JD hits Finn with the chair multiple times, lays it on Finn. Dom does 2 frog splashes to him, one with the chair, one without the chair. And Finn Balor is officially, I'm assuming, out of the Judgment Day, which absolutely blew my mind. I can't believe they actually finally, they pulled the trigger. This entire segment, from beginning to end, was perfect, in my opinion. I think some people are going to hate on it, but I don't think this was a great way to swerve the audience, because we thought that when it was Punk versus Finn, that Dom was going to interfere to somehow make Finn lose, and that would put him in the Intercontinental scene. Now, Dom loses the Intercontinental title, not because of interference from Finn helping out, but because nobody helped him out. Danhausen cursed him. And I think this is just all going straight from Americano being cursed to then him not even being in the match, and it's the other El Grande Americano, to now this. Danhausen is causing ripples, like major storyline ripples throughout the WWE, and it's so awesome to watch. This segment, the last segment, it's just perfect. We then have Adam Pearce and Javon Evans in the back, and Adam Pearce is very happy with the performance that Javon Evans has been giving on the main roster. And in fact, he's so thrilled with it, he gives Javon Evans the week off. Hey, just take it easy, just chill. You just came back from the Elimination Chamber. Just chill. And that is until the New Day roll in. The New Day being Kofi Kingston and Grayson Waller. Now, I say the New Day, but I don't know if Grayson Waller is in fact actually a part of the New Day, or if he's just kind of like a lackey that they just keep around. You know, I don't know if he's an official member of the New Day. But Kofi tells Grayson Waller to please leave and let me and Javon talk. And Kofi wants to discuss that Javon Evans reminds Kofi of himself when he was younger, doing moves that nobody could do and showing out every chance he could get. They're almost parallel one another, and it's awesome to see them talk here. But Kofi kind of goes in and is like, you know, you kind of need a team in order to help you out sometimes. And it takes the right team to win a lot. And Javon Evans is like, okay, I kind of get where you're going with this. And they're just trying to drop in little seeds here that maybe Kofi wants Javon Evans to join the New Day, maybe replacing Grayson Waller, because, you know, Grayson Waller really doesn't fit in. And it's not like his character just doesn't fit. Like, Grayson is more of like a douchey kind of guy, whereas like Xavier and Kofi are more like, you just hate them. You know, when they're heels, you just hate them, and then when you love them, you love them. And then one thing to note, behind all this happening, we see Asuka and Kairi after the match they just had in the background. And it looks like Asuka is pulling Kairi by the ear, or maybe by the hair, I can't tell. And they're going into a doorway. Now, I don't know what this door is. I don't know if it's like Adam Pearce's office or this, that, or whatever. Maybe it's just the dressing room. But I just wanted to bring it up because usually when they show something in the background, that's hinting towards something more. Next, we get Oba Femi versus Rusev, and this was, in my opinion, the best match of the night. It showed the strengths of both guys. They both looked fantastic, even though this was a squash match. I don't care what anybody says, this was a squash. And yes, Rusev did get a lot of offense in. It wasn't a very long match, mind you, but it was like everything you needed it to be. It was kind of like Goldberg matches way back in the day. Sure, Rusev still got some offense in, but it still looked, or made Oba look dominant over Rusev. Because he at the end of the match, he ends like he always does, just like he did with Johnny Gargano, just like he did with Kit Wilson and everybody else. So yeah, easily best match of the night. You should go watch it if you get the chance to. And for our quote-unquote main event, we have CM Punk come out, and he wants to talk about Roman Reigns and the World Heavyweight Championship. He says that the World Heavyweight Championship was created because Roman Reigns doesn't care about the company or professional wrestling enough to defend his titles. This is when he had his, 1,316 day title reign as champ. He didn't care enough to defend it. So they had to create a whole new title of people who actually want to fight for, they had to make the championship for that. Because Roman wasn't going to do it, so they needed this one. And that's why, people like Seth, Damian, Drew, and now Punk are holding this title. Real people who actually want to fight. And remember how I talked about how Jimmy and Jey Uso had some receipts to hand out? They had some comments that needed to be said. Well, they finally show back up on the show to talk to CM Punk directly. They specifically want CM Punk to apologize. Well, Punk goes on this long rant about his time with the Anoa'i family, where he helped out babysit. He learned under the tutelage of parts of the Anoa'i family. But he also keeps bringing up Roman. He has respect for the Anoa'i family, and he feels like the Anoa'i family respect him likewise. The only one he's got a problem with is Roman. Roman this, Roman that. Roman's the problem. Roman keeps bringing all you guys to all his matches so he can keep on winning. Roman. And Jay's like, this isn't about Roman. We don't care about Roman right now. We want you to apologize, plain and simple. And Punk obliges. He says sorry. He says he's sorry that you have Roman for a cousin. He's sorry that Roman has manipulated the both of you and your entire family. He's sorry that he's manipulated the entire fan base here in attendance and at home watching. This pisses off both Jay and Jimmy. Once Punk is finally done ranting about Roman, he pushes the microphone into Jay's chest, pushing him a little back. Jay pushes him back, and then Jimmy clocks CM Punk in the face. Nothing else is really done here. They both kind of just stand on the apron on the outside of the ropes. Punk is on the ground looking up at him, just like, man, did he really just punch me? I can't believe he just punched me. And I really enjoyed this segment. This was fantastic. It makes me wonder where they're going to go from here. I can see CM Punk versus Jimmy Uso maybe next week, and then maybe Jey Uso the next to keep this moving along. And it's so nice to see Jimmy and Jay have actual characters that don't really care for the whole Roman aspect of it. You disrespected the family. You disrespected an elder. Who cares what you said to Roman? You disrespected an elder? We can't be having that. No. And that's where I love where this is at. They don't care what he said about Roman. They care about the family, which should be the most important thing overall. Anyways, this Raw was a lot of fun. I can't really think about one thing I disliked, because I guess I could say I dislike not knowing where storylines are going, but that would just be me nitpicking the whole show, because it's kind of nice having a mystery, like, what are Jimmy and Jay going to do? What happened to El Grande Americano? Jimmy and Jay, are they going to go after Punk continuously, or are they going to go after the World Tag Team title, or are they going to have their World Tag Team titles go up against the Vision? How is the Vision intertwining with Seth Rollins? Are they going to eventually intertwine back with CM Punk and Roman, because we have the Seth, Punk, Roman triangle from last year with Paul Heyman and the Vision? And not to mention the cherry on top, in my opinion, the whole destruction of the Judgment Day. There is not a single member left that is an original member. There's no Edge. There's no Damian. There's no Rhea. There is no longer any Finn. It is now just a conglomeration of a bunch of misfits that no longer belong anywhere else on the roster, which you could say is what it originally was intended for, because Damian wasn't doing anything, Rhea wasn't doing anything, and Edge wanted so much more for these wrestlers that were just stuck in the mid-card, and then brought along Finn into the mix. I think this was like a full circle moment for the Judgment Day, and I just loved every bit of it. Mind you, hated how long it took, but now that we're here, just perfect. So this March 9th, 2026 edition of Monday Night Raw, I will be giving, man, I really enjoyed it. I'm just going to go with it. 4.5 stars out of 5. Wasn't a perfect show, but boy, was it close to it. The pacing didn't feel off. Nothing felt rushed. Nothing felt like it was just lagging on. Everything just hit the beat it needed to hit. It was a really good night. Anyways, that is my review of this edition of Monday Night Raw. Let me know down in the comments below, what did you think about this Monday Night Raw? Danhausen cursing people, the Judgment Day imploding, what else happened? Jimmy and Jay, Punk, Roman. Let me know in those comments down below anything and everything. While you're down there, if you've watched this long and you enjoyed the video, you might as well hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, you should hit that little subscribe button and the notification bell so you can know every single time this channel uploads. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you again next time.